was a good debate. The decision was unanimous, so all three judges agreed this time that the con team won the debate.
Okay, so the winner is Ryan and Ryan. Okay, can you give them your...
Yes.
You want to start? I'll start.
Hello everyone, my name is Gavin, and the debate today was pretty interesting. I honestly thought that the debate was going to be about Ebola because the affirmative really came out with that, but we never heard of it again after the first speech. And then I ended up voting for the con team simply because they made the argument about animal testing, first of all, can hurt us instead of help us, and second of all, it takes money away from other things that could be better, which was that argument came out in the summary speech, and so for that reason I voted for the con.
My name's Mike. I voted for the con. So the way that I looked at the debate is, I definitely agree with what Gavin said, that there were a lot of things that I felt got discussed earlier in the debate that weren't really discussed so much towards the end of the debate. I think the protein, the one impact that you're kind of trying to go for is that animal testing is worth doing because it saves lives. And that's really the only impact that you're talking about in the last speech as far as why your arguments are important. And I think that that's the reason why I ended up voting for the con team is because they're making the argument that technology is better than animal testing because we save money. And if we save the money doing animal testing, then we can spend that money on either improving the technology or increasing medical research or cures or actual medicine, which means that it actually ends up saving more lives in the long run. I think that you should try to have a little bit more of an impact in that last speech as far as to why your arguments are so important. I think that, I mean, you've got these arguments earlier in the debate, such as the Ebola stuff. You've got arguments that talk about why animal testing is necessary and why that's important because of distinctions. You don't really get to that portion of that last speech with enough time to really explain those arguments and explain why those arguments are important. So just focus on trying to pick maybe two arguments and then focusing on those and explaining those and developing those as effectively as you could. I think that you could have probably done just a little bit better job in the last speech of kind of more directly answering their arguments about why animal testing is necessary. I think you were kind of getting there and then kind of the time ran out. And so try to split your time evenly between the arguments that you want to extend and you want to re-explain. So a couple just general comments I'll kind of throw out. I felt like anytime you are extending an argument or using a piece of evidence that you have read previously in the debate, you do not have to reread that piece of evidence. All you have to do is you cite the evidence, so you can say our RDS 2007 evidence indicates, and then you explain the evidence in your own words. It will save you a lot of time, and you can make more arguments when you do that. So you don't, and this is something both teams did. This is not just
3 times one quote, 2 times one quote.
Yes. So all you have to do is explain the evidence. And the reason why that's beneficial is if you just re-explain it in your own words, you have more time to make either an additional argument or even to read an additional piece of evidence that makes different warrants to answer the argument, to make your argument stronger. I thought that was one thing that could have been improved on. And also, just remember during Crossfire, it's the only 2 people that should be talking are the people that are asking questions and answering questions. I know it's a little difficult sometimes when you have a 3-person team, but just kind of keep that in mind. It should just be the 2 people that are involved in asking questions. And the same thing when you're giving the speech. The only person that we should be able to hear is the person who's actually speaking. And so try to keep that in mind going forward. But I thought it was a great debate. I mean, it was definitely one of the better debates I've seen on this topic so far.
I also thought it was a good debate because either team could have won in the last speech. So I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. The best speeches in this debate were the summary speeches. And I think that meant either the pro could win with a good final focus, or the con could win with a good final focus. And that both of those speeches, pro and con final focus, were not as good as they could have been. My decision for the con was because in order for you to win that saving lives is more important than saving money, you have to prove that animal testing saves lives. Right? So you began by saying their best argument is expensive, but it's worth saving lives. Now, our best point is that testing is necessary. They didn't respond to it. That was literally your entire speech, almost word for word. And then the last 40 seconds were silence. And you never gave a reason why animal testing saves lives. You never went on to explain why testing is necessary. In the summary speech, your partner talked about why it's better than technology because technology can't simulate bloods and cells and isn't living, and none of those points made it to your speech. If those points are in your speech, it would be really hard to vote for their argument that it's better to save the money or put it towards technology. But without that point, you can't prove that you save any lives, and so money becomes important because you get no benefit. So that's why I voted for that.
Okay, thank you all for coming. 第一句话，如果你小孩子输了，你第一句话不应该，你为什么不要这样？你为什么忘记这个？你为什么不做这个？你说第一句话就是你是最赞，你最棒，你可以来到这边就已经最棒了。Okay, I want to remind you again, you represent top 1%.